So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we have a very special episode here at Alfa Romeo Philippines, specifically in Libis. So on my left we have the Giulia sedan models, and on my right this is the current Stelvio model. But for this review we will talk about this, the 2019 Alfa Romeo Stelvio diesel. This is the only one here in the Philippines. What do we have here now with this Alfa Romeo Stelvio? Well, the looks alone, this looks very much similar like with the Alfa Romeo Giulia sedan. As well, I did my own version of a full in detailed review of that. Check that out on my channel. I mean, as you hear at front, this looks exactly the same like with the Giulia. But main difference is now, since this being a crossover SUV, the ground clearance is much higher at 200 millimeters. I mean, as you can see, with both of these cars, the height difference is much higher, of course. This specific Stelvio is a four-wheel drive version. We will not off-road this whatsoever, but I mean, let's try out an Alfa Romeo with four-wheel drive, since most of the models here are rear-wheel drive. So, as you can see from both Stelvio models, you have LED lights all around. I said in my Giulia review, this is one of the most beautiful looking headlights I've ever seen. But as you can see in the shot, weirdly, this 2019 model has fog lights, but if you look at the current model, they don't exist whatsoever, which I find very weird. And the wheels of these two, this is much shorter at 19 inches. And then if we go over here to the current model, these are running on 20s, but you have the same set of wheels on either Stelvio model. And I do love this look of the wheels. They look like pizzas. I mean, it's the Italian flair, as I would call it, like in my Giulia review. So here now on the side profile of this Alfa Romeo Stelvio. So being a raised up Giulia, even here is as tall as me now compared to the Giulia. And yes, being a crossover, but I don't mind it since it's a lot of, it's a trend nowadays. You get cladding all around this vehicle, but it's not, up to here, but no, it's just the right amount for this Stelvio. And then here now at the rear of the Stelvio, Q4 variant, mind you, since this is a four-wheel drive vehicle. And hilariously, even though this is a diesel model, you get dual exhaust pipes on either side, and as you get the Alfa Romeo badge here yet again. So now being a Stelvio SUV, this is your boot space. Yes, it is much bigger than that of the Giulia. So with all of the seats up, you have a total of 500 liters, and few toys over here. Underneath, there's no spare tire whatsoever, but you get LED lights on either side and a 12-volt socket exclusively here on the left side. And like with the Giulia sedan, like with every other competitor of this Stelvio, folding down these rear seats is pretty easy. So just pull these guys and then push them to further increase the boot space. So now this is more like it. Now the total space here is 1,600 liters, which is, I gotta say, one of the most practical Alfa Romeos you can buy out there. And as well, this one is equipped with a electronic tailgate, despite being a 2019 model. So let's head over to the interior. So this is the interior of this Alfa Romeo Stelvio diesel, mind you. So despite being one of the earlier models available here in the Philippines back then, still this interior looks very, very fresh. And you all know me, I love black and red. This is actually my spec of any Alfa Romeo if I able to order one here in the future. So I will call this red seats LaFerrari red. Anyways, so being again an old girl, squidgy material, very nice interior trims in there. Yeah, this is actually very nice take on against with its competitors, I must say. With all of the German counterparts. So here in the steering wheel, like with the Giulia sedan, it's exactly the same. So you get your cruise control functions here on the left side, along with your engine start-stop button and volume and some bits here to adjust in the instrument cluster. And of course, my highlight for this Stelvio diesel, like with the Giulia Sprint I reviewed a year ago, you get aluminum paddle shifters. Even though this is a diesel engine, a few people might find it weird on this, but not for me. Since this is an Alfa Romeo, it's all about the spirited driving. So yeah, here in your instrument cluster, you get a digital display right in the middle. Same gubbins like with most Alfa Romeo models, along to all of your analog tachometer and speedometer. It's not like the full digital ones. Even for the current model, it's exactly the same. So here you have your 8.8-inch infotainment system. Sadly, this 2019 model, mind you, does not yet get Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto. Again, I demoed that all perfectly in the Giulia sedan. So all of the same stuff here and there, and being not the updated one, you can move it left or right, but this does not function whatsoever. It's just a normal rotary gear compared to the current ones. So here now, glove box, okay, pretty good. There's even like felt materials along too, as you can see, an LED light, and then net storages here on either side. And being an Alfa Romeo, I mean, look at that sturdy quality here and there. Even though this part of the center console is a little bit harder, well, more on the plastic side of things, but it's still nice. They kept this all red. And being the older type of the model year of the Stelvio, you get your normal air conditioning controls over here, a USB port, a 12-volt socket, and I'll open this again. This one reveals your 2 cup holders and a space for your phone, but ironically the key, this is the very beautiful key of the Stelvio. It's exactly the same like with the Giulia, but it's so funny that you can fit it here right in the cup holders. So here you have that brushed black trim over again here in the middle. So turn this on. There you go. Yeah, the infotainment screen, as you can see over here, yeah, it is very small. So if I demo here, you have a reverse camera still. So here more buttons here, like what I explained to with the Giulia sedan. You get your DNA functions over here. So basically these are your driving modes. So you have dynamic, normal, and then anima. So again, we will talk about that later on when we get to drive this. So mute you first, and then here center console box. Now, as for the eagle eye spotter will note, there is no wireless charging pad for this 2019 model. But again, it is all present in the current model. But still exactly the same. You have a small cubby space, a USB port, an aux cord, and a LED light just right inside. And to being, this I find weird, being one of the earlier models, yeah, everything's manually adjusted from your height, reclining, and then forwards and backwards. But hey, what am I to complain about? This is an Alfa Romeo. So above here, you have your LED lights, safety reminders, and then visor, you have a vanity mirror with a halogen light over here. I know this don't extend, yeah, sadly. But the quality, even for the ceiling over here, is pretty good. So yeah, that's about here to with this front of this Stelvio diesel. Let's check out the rear seats. So this is the rear of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio diesel. Now, being a crossover SUV compared with the Giulia sedan, it's night and day difference with it in terms of the space. Look at this, the feet room, the knee room, even the headroom. I mean, the Giulia, I think I have this much of headroom. This one is like, wow, my whole hand can fit above my head already. And yeah, being an older model, yeah, there's just few toys over here. You get net storages over here, and you don't even have a Harman Kardon sound system for this Alfa Romeo Stelvio diesel. So let's find that out again once we get to drive one of these. But at least here in the middle, you get 2 air conditioning vents over here, 2 USB ports, and a very small cubby space. And unlike with the Giulia sedan, being a crossover SUV now, I did note the Giulia sedan's transmission tunnel was too tall for my liking. I mean, you can even fit a third person here in the middle. But for this Stelvio, being again an SUV, I can sit here in the middle comfortably now. And I gotta say again, big highlight for me with the Stelvio diesel are the red seats. This looks absolutely beautiful. And then go here in the middle, you have 2 cup holders and another cubby space here for your phone. And I love there's a nice Alfa Romeo logo right here. Never seen that in any other brand so far. So this may be the entry model of the Stelvio available here in the Philippines. But if you literally want everything, all the tech, the creature comforts here and there, you may check out this one, the current model Stelvio. This one's the Q4Ti turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Everything's, I mean, you get tan interior, you get wooden trims all around here. It looks exactly the same, but there have been a lot of upgrades done to the 2023 model. So yeah, that's enough of me blabbering here with this Stelvio diesel. I am very excited once again. Let's go for a drive. So finally driving the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Powering this is a 2.2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder diesel engine that produces 200 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. And all Stelvios too are mated to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. Like what I explained to with the Giulia review, the 8-speed is very smooth. It's no dual clutch like, but the response time and just driving here around in the city, it's already the perfect transmission for any vehicle, I must say. So, like with the Giulia, it shares the same mechanics like in the engine, which I forgot to explain to. This is one of the few cars that I know too that has a carbon fiber drive shaft. Where else do you see that? I only know those kinds of drive shaft exist in supercars themselves. Driving here comfortably and then sensibly at first. Yeah, it feels like every other crossover SUV. Not to my surprise though. Okay, the ride is just a little bit on the sportier side of things, but this still, takes the cake for me for like with every other crossover. Despite to being an all-wheel drive system, this is lighter than its nearest rivals, around 100 to 150 kilograms, which impressed me the most. And as well, the agility of this is unlike anything I've ever experienced in an Alfa Romeo or a crossover in general. For what this is, again, an SUV. Yeah, this is among one of the best handling crossovers I've ever tried. The Stelvio's braking system is designed for spirited driving, which means this is one of the few cars that I know of that will have less brake fade than usual. So again, it leans more towards the sportier side of things. Again, like with supercars that I mentioned. So the Stelvio name comes from a mountain pass in Italy, which again, Stelvio Pass was hailed as one of the best driving roads in the world by Top Gear. God, I love that episode. And two, this Stelvio earns the name of it because again, this is one of the best crossover SUVs out there. And two, this is just the base model. Imagine what we explained earlier, the Velocity with 280 horsepower. Can't imagine what that is like. So again, there are a lot of twisty roads that we've driven already here with this Stelvio. In addition, this handles like unlike any other we've tried out in any crossover SUV. Even, I gotta say, even better than its German counterparts. Along too with that, again, with the braking system, this, you can drive it all day, any day. And I will keep saying it, this Alfa Romeo Stelvio is among one of the best SUVs I've ever driven. Everything I want in an SUV, it's all packaged what I want in a vehicle. Yes, this may be a diesel, but this still has a lot of tricks up its sleeve. And again, I will say it, the highlight of this is definitely the handling. It handles unlike any other crossover SUV I tried out with the Giulia. It handles exactly the same. Yes, you may feel the weight ever so slightly compared with the Giulia, but like what I explained earlier in the walk-around review, this is just a raised up Giulia, and I kind of believe what everyone says now. This is, again, one of the best, crossover SUVs everyone has tried out too. So what impressed me the most too is, the fuel economy is left to be desired, but for what this is, yet again, since we're just driving repeatedly during the twisties earlier, our average usually was around 6.6 kilometers per liter, which is ironically the same as the Giulia sedan, but on a calmer pace, light-footed, unlike me, of course, I was able to get as much as 9 kilometers per liter, which is an impressive number for a very powerful diesel crossover SUV. Again, here in the cabin, it feels a bit more special than usual because you have the black trims, everything squeegee, and as I mentioned earlier, you get the La Ferrari spec here for all of the seats. Yeah, this is already a complete crossover SUV. And two, as you can hear too, while I'm driving, yes, this may be again a diesel engine, but the NVH here is really good. You don't hear much of it going here into the cabin. Tire noise, okay, despite running on 19-inch wheels, this is still not too bad. But I think if you have this option with the 20-inch wheels, like the Velocity, this will tend to be a bit noisier than usual. And acceleration-wise, just here, dynamic, it's one of the most violent too. Like, wow, look at that. Right, I've never experienced any diesel vehicle that is able to pull like this. And again, This is weighs less than what, 1700 kilograms if not mistaken. Yeah, this is such a beast to drive and I freaking love it. So if you're looking for a very underrated and I must say a very beautiful crossover SUV compared with the rest of the European brands out there, I highly suggest you may check this Alfa Romeo Stelvio out. Remember, again, this is the older model unit, but again, this is for sale. So I highly suggest you may visit Alfa Romeo Philippines at Libis and you may talk to Miss Bernadette or Sir Allen for more inquiries about this Stelvio unit. And again, the one I will highly recommend to is the Stelvio Q4 TID Velocity with a petrol 280 horsepower. But for this diesel, I am surprised. I thought I'd never consider a diesel vehicle again in my life. I would highly suggest this model too. So that concludes my review of this very beautiful and daring Alfa Romeo Stelvio diesel. So I'd like to thank everyone here at Alfa Romeo Philippines, to Sir Allen, to Miss Bernadette, and to Paul Espino behind the camera of Test Drive Philippines. So you may check out his review on this Stelvio diesel. So hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with more future car reviews and hopefully more Alfa Romeos. Bye-bye. I'm gonna drive again because why the hell not?